drank pots and pots and pots and pots of strong black coffee, trying to keep my sleepy soul awake. But the sleepiness still comes along, and when it does, it's fast and strong. I end up with a bad case of the shakes.
Hey, good morning, guys. It's time for a coffee talk. It is really early on a Sunday. It's 5:19, and I've said this multiple times that this will be a fast one, and I do hope this one will be a fast one because I'm about to get back to the marathon. Grab your coffee, fruity cup, still dark magic. I'm really stuck in a rut on that one. We're going to talk about the standard shilling on the sales. We'll take a look at that. We'll take a look at the missions. I'll give you the marathon update, a few lessons learned so far in the first 4 days. One other piece of information at the end, which we'll get to. Okay, for the standard shilling for wargaming, just a real quick look. The Panzer III and Turan are in the gift store, the gift shop. I don't really recommend either one of them, but if you're in the mood for a low tier tank, I'd probably take the Turan out over the Panzer IIIK. I have the Panzer IIIK, and it is awful unless it's been buffed in the last about 6 months. 105, 23 hours. T-44 100, 23 hours. M56, 23 hours. So if you want one of those three things, get on it. Shadow tank, oh boy, the shadow tanks are out there. That has to do with the marathon, which we'll talk about in just a minute. But you can buy black tanks now. Interestingly, that will be another tank of the same kind. If you own a T-34, IS-6, or regular MUTs, you can actually own the black version of it. So you're not going to get gold if that's what you're thinking you're going to get. Be careful about that. In addition to that, if you win them in marathons, such as what I'm going to do, you don't get the gold if you've got the regular tank. You get the actual black version. You will not get it as well if you have the black version, because in this marathon you will get the silver credits. Talk about that in a minute. And the regular other tanks are on sale, so nothing else big there. And we will now move on to the missions. Alrighty then, for the missions, you can see that the Halloween event is still ongoing. Hey, if you did this event, let me know down in the comments how it went. If you have any cool games from it, send them in. I'd like to feature them, especially if it's one where you won something really good. Let us know. I'm really curious about what the end game sarcophagi are going to give, if it's anything interesting. I've looked at what's listed. It doesn't seem anything more than maybe some reserves, consumables, and things like that. But if for somebody who finishes everything, especially this one up here is what I'm kind of curious about, what you're going to get. Could have been something actually good. So if you ground it out, let me know. P-48 Patton is on track. So if you're interested in that, go for it. And those are the events. So let's jump over to the missions. Also, the Halloween event, we talked about that last week. They are both an event and a mission for some reason. Tank rewards is now going. Make sure that if you did the trick or treat tank rewards, that you go and click on your houses. If you don't know how to do that, send me a message. We won't go over it. I've already talked about it in the past. But there are prizes out there for you probably, and most anyone who just played the game during last month is going to have some houses probably built up, so you don't want to miss whatever prizes, because you have a chance at premium tanks by doing that. So hopefully everyone who watches me knows this. If you don't know how to do it, please send me a message and we will take care of that. The new event then is ongoing, and the first 3 missions are up. You can see they're right here. Standard Iron Seal Act, you need 50 of these things to get the prize right here. These are wins, just getting wins, and then this is tripping in the top 10, which gives you the 1 mission completed, which goes over here. So you can see that I've done that 3 times. I should have done that 4 times. Look at that. I think, I'm not really sure how I missed. This must be 1 day off. Yes, okay, so this is a day off, I believe, or 2. Looks like 2 days off from the marathon mission, so be careful about that. If you're doing the math and not thinking about it, you might say, oh wow, I've done 4 days of the marathon mission, but I only have 3 of these. In fact, I only have 2 of these because it started on the 3rd, and I have 1 of these 3 is this guy right here. See where it says completed 1 of 5, and that's getting 15 wins, and I'm 11 towards my 2nd completion on this. These are the kind of things you got to look at on these just to make sure you're knocking them out. There'll be more missions that come up for the tank rewards as well. I haven't looked at the prizes on that one. Frankly, I can't tell you what it is. And then we got the tank mastery. Now, what's interesting here, we're going to move on to the marathon. I'm going to talk about this for just a second. Let's go back and see if it's still like that. look at this. The marathon is no longer here. And this is where it was living in the events. It's because I believe it's being reset right now. I say that because it's the reset for the marathon missions, and I believe all the missions, is a day off, or sorry, not a day, 30 minutes off from the regular server reset. So if I go to my garage, you can see that I played my 252 yesterday, and so the ×3 should be gone, but it's back, which means the server's reset, at least for this part. And if I go to the missions, though, I watch it have reappeared. Nope. You can tell that I don't even have my marathon missions up right now. And this got me yesterday because I played a pretty good game about this time of the morning. And I figured I was going to get quite a bit of damage done because it was my Type 5 and I had like 6,000 damage. I only needed 18,000 damage yesterday for the marathon. And I figured, wow, there's 1/3 in one game. When I came back, I noticed that the card came up and I had not tripped the mission. And I dug into this and went, oh, that's because the missions are not reset. They're 30 minutes off of the regular server reset. And interestingly, they're not even showing right now. So I will have to check that as it is. Oh, wait a minute, something just happened. There they are. Look at it. That happened as I was recording the coffee talk. Now it's at 0. It used to say 18 of 18,000 because I had done it yesterday. It used to say day 4 and now it says day 5. Outstanding, good timing. All right, so let's get into that. As I said, for the marathon, there are 3 tanks: the Schwarzpanzer 58, the Tanksgiving T-34B. Oh, they all say Tanksgiving. Okay, T-34B, which is the black version, and the IS-6B. Also, the black version. The Schwarzpanzer happens to be the black version of the Mutz. For the prize, because I own the black version of the Mutz, which a couple years ago you could get for about 20 bucks. During some buffoonery on Wargaming's pricing side, you'll notice that I'm only going to get 3,408,000 credits for finishing this one. The reason I'm doing all 3 in this marathon, let me back up, I'm doing all 3 on the marathon, is because I'm just interested in how long it takes. I'm interested in the whole YouTube, building up some Twitch followership, all that kind of thing. I just want to see how it goes, see how much time it takes. I may even do a little writing about it at the end. However, with the 34B and the IS-6B, which I do not own, I'm going to get the actual tank, and that's, you see the symbol right there. The other nice thing about the Mutz is I'll get a garage slot right there. I do own the T-34 regular and the IS-6 regular, so that's that discussion we just had, where you won't be getting the gold if you own the regular one, and if you own the one that's on the marathon, you'll only be getting the silver as per the Mutz right there. So hopefully that clears all that up. You need 15 tokens. You can see I've done 4 days so far, so I have 4 of 15. There are 20 days. I'll show you a chart in just a moment. And then this gives you the requirements, and on the chart we'll talk about the requirements. You get some reserves as you trip each mission each day. They're not bad. Experience and some crew experience, but that's about it. So let's jump over to the chart that I have. This was on the website, and somebody built this for us. Move that over there, and you can see that it's got each day, Schwarz, T-34, IS-6, and it tells you what you've got to do. So I've done through day 4. Yesterday was 7,500 experience for each of the 34 and the IS-6, and damage for the Schwarz. You'll notice that the Schwarz is purely damage, so that's pretty easy. For the T-34 and the IS-6, it kind of swaps around a little bit. Today, on day 5, I'm going to need to win 3 and be in the top 8. So you can see it's pretty easy. Win 1, win 2. That was damage, I believe. That was experience. This seems to be the only really experienced one. I think there's a top experience one down there somewhere, which is interesting because on the experience you can help yourself with ×3s or ×2s and reserves, but with damage there are no reserves to help you with damage. That's just purely pouring out damage. Monday is kill 10. Now that's where it's going to start to get a little bit grindy right there. That's tomorrow. And my estimate was I would run with a 50% win rate. So that's 40 battles plus the 21,000 damage. So that's going to be a little grindy on Monday. On the 7th completely off base. Kill 10. Never mind. I was trying to talk about the win 5. Kill 10 is pretty easy. Win 5 then is 10 wins total, 20 games, which gets a little bit grindy on, I believe, Tuesday. And you can see how it just moves up through there. And I talked about a lot of this on a video a while ago, so you may have seen a lot of what I'm talking about here. if I go straight through 15 on each one, then I get to a place where I have to win 36 in one day. And more than likely, this win 15 and win 36 are probably not going to happen for both tanks on one day. We'll see what those days turn out to be. I have a couple days off that are pretty strategically placed on some of these grindy ones. So I'll be streaming all that good stuff. So it may be a factor if I get to day 15, I plan to knock out the mutts first and be done with it, and then I can concentrate on these two. And I may have to stair step through them until I get 15. I have a concert to go to down here about on the 19th or 20th, so if I don't get it done by about then, it's not going to get done. So that should be interesting. A couple lessons learned on this thing. Let's see if I can bring up my forum post that I had on it. That's not what I want. What I want is content I follow. There it is. So lessons learned. First one was the reset thing. Second one was that I had was running tier 10 and trying to get damage. Sometimes you get grand battles. Now that's good and bad because the damage ones, at least on the 34 and the IS-6, require you to be in the top X number, and it gets a little harder as it goes. Remember that in grand battles it's up to 30 guys, so if you need to be the top 10 in damage amongst 30, that's much harder than being in the top 10 in damage amongst 15. The good news is there's more damage out there to get. So if you roll up a 6,000, 8,000 damage game in a grand battle and you're number 8 or 1 or whatever it is, you trip it, that's pretty good. That's a lot of damage. Somebody did mention then after I said this, hey, you could just turn grand battles off if that's a problem. So just realize that's out there. If you can perform at a grand battle, you're probably doing yourself a favor. I actually got 3. I hadn't had any yet, and I got 3 the other day. One thing I will throw out about grand battles that I saw that I haven't seen any documentation on, and I think they may have tweaked it a little bit, is it was 24v24, not 30v30. So actually all 3 of the ones I fought were in the morning, and they were 24 versus 24. So they dropped 6 tanks off of both sides to get a grand battle set up. So that was interesting. And I think there was maybe one more lesson learned. Let me see my posts. First night, nothing, and I think that's it. Yeah, that's pretty much all the lessons learned that I really had right there. The last thing on the missions is to remember, and I said this in the earlier video, you got to click on here, but there are only certain nations that are available for each of the tanks. So just as one example, if you click on that, you'll see that for the mutts you can do German, you can do Japanese, and it looks like Swedish. So do pay attention to that as you're going through it. Just click on it and find what you need and make sure you're playing the right tank. If you spend all day grinding and you're not actually grinding the right mission, you're probably going to be pretty upset. All right, that is it except for 2 things. Number 1, thanks for the birthday wishes. It was back on October 31st. I actually did a video on the YouTube channel and I mentioned it was my birthday, but I actually posted it about 3 or 4 days later, so I think some people were confused. I think I said in there somewhere it was the 31st, but anyway, it was October 31st. No big deal. Thanks for the wishes. I do appreciate it. The last thing is I am going to monetize the channel, which is probably going to irritate some people. So I apologize if it does irritate you. More so on the kind of test version and just see how this whole thing works. I've said it before. I'm just sort of looking into the whole social media, YouTube, Twitch thing, trying to figure out how it works more as a science project than anything. Obviously, I would like to make a little bit of money on this if I could. Right now, that's really not a problem. Not one of, I got a million problems, and one of them is not making money off the internet. Anyway, I'm just curious how that's going to go. If you have any thoughts on that, drop it down in the comments down below. I've got to look at a couple things before I start doing it. It's all set up, but my worry is a couple of things like my music at the beginning. It's under Creative Commons, so I need to reattack and look at the no kidding very nth details of some of that music. So I believe a couple of the songs that I'm using, they say you can use it as long as you're not monetizing it, and of course that's a problem. If the Creative Commons doesn't let you to use it to make money, then you can't use it. So I'll have to find some different music. So as of right now, I haven't tripped any videos on that. So please, I'm just curious what your thoughts are on that, and we'll go from there. So anyway, thanks for tuning into Coffee Talk. I have to start grinding for the day. I will see you on Twitch. Come by and see me. And as always, see ya.